I hate doomerism. I hate doomerism incredibly.
So do I.
Yeah.
Absolutely despise it.
Yeah.
Doing our enemies work for us at every turn.
Exactly.
Stop being a doomer.
Stop being doomers. I think we need a morale boost because at the moment, not many good things are happening in this continent, in Europe. And several good things happen in the Americas, both north and south. I think we need to inject some of their optimism into ourselves. And we are going to show you and compare the morale between the Americas and Europe and show you why we think we need to make Europe great again. Right, so let's talk about the US for a bit. Everyone knows Trump won and everyone is being ecstatic and everyone is dancing with his YMCA
Iconic
moves.
dance moves are sweeping the internet and winning him a lot of fans.
We see here people dancing with his hilarious moves. It's really funny, I think. But everyone, it seems everyone is in jolly good mood. And there is a kind of element of an apologetic fun.
Quite a lot of football players.
Yes.
I saw John Jones doing it.
Yes. I really want this. Hulk Hogan, of course. It's good to have fun.
Yeah.
Let just not be miserable all the time. You know, the way that, you know, the socialist welfare state wants us to be so they can capitalize upon our misery and resentment. I want to have fun.
That's one thing I think the United States has historically always done well, is had relatively high morale. Yeah. I mean, historically, in the last few years, not so much, but that's by design, isn't it?
Yeah.
But usually in the 20th century, throughout the Cold War and post-Cold War, the 80s,
the 80s
very high morale. It's great to see.
Were one of my favorite decades.
I've always admired America for that.
Yeah.
I've kind of always despised that Britain, Europe, but Britain particularly, have got a Debbie Downer on themselves.
Yeah.
Just as a default mode is to be,
shameful for
being Eeyore about everything.
Yeah, exactly. And just feeling shame for somehow your history and the past. And Europe has been one of the greatest continents ever.
Whole armies, whole nations can be absolutely ruined simply by morale.
Yeah.
Comes up in history again and again. If an enemy accepts it's defeated, then it's defeated.
Exactly.
If it doesn't accept it's defeated, it isn't defeated.
That's why one of the main tactics that are used in warfare and also psychological warfare in politics is demoralization.
Yeah. The art historian Kenneth Clark, not the politician Kenneth Clark, the late art historian, said that we can destroy ourselves more easily, more thoroughly by cynicism than by bombs.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
It's not over until it's over.
Right.
We have Elon Musk here being really jolly about his Mars mission.
Welcome to Terminus, the first Martian city.
It is a bit tacky, but there's a kind of optimism. Now, I won't say I wouldn't go there for two reasons. First of all, it looks like sci-fi Mordor. And also, it's called Terminus, and I've watched Walking Dead. I'm not going there.
That's supposed to be Mars?
Yeah.
Okay.
He wants to build a colony in Mars, and you've done several segments about it, I think.
Well, that would be thousands, maybe tens of thousands of years into the future. That's after Mars has been terraformed, isn't it? So.
Sure, yeah, but I was watching a documentary yesterday, and it say in 5 billion years or something, the Earth is going to be destroyed by the sun.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, just let's do something about it, and let's go to other planets. Let's start working about it rather than crying, poor little me.
At some point, on the scale of hundreds of millions, maybe billions of years, the sun's fuel will start to run out, and it will swell.
Yeah.
And so one of the steps is we'll have to go to Mars, I would have thought, on some level.
Yeah.
Have to.
And further.
Well, yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually the sun itself will die and we'll have to go to other systems.
Yeah. So. I mean, just sitting here and waiting for welfare checks and stuff, it's not going to work. We need to save humanity. Right, so we're going to go to Canada, and it seems that the Trump victory has had some effect in Canada. I'll show you what Justin Trudeau says, and tell me if you think that there is something changing over there.
Immigration. Let's talk about it. In the last 2 years...
Oh, now you want to talk about it.
Really fast, like baby boom fast. And increasingly, bad actors like fake colleges and big chain corporations have been exploiting our immigration system for their own interests. So we're doing something major. We're reducing the numbers of immigrants that will come to Canada for the next 3 years. Today, I'm going to let you in on what happened, where we made some mistakes, and why we're taking this big turn.
Are you out of your mind, bro? Are you out of your mind? Oh my God, could it be more infuriating?
Yeah, well, he had Bill C-63, I think, which essentially is a retroactive bill that says any kind of criticism of policies of this sort are going to be labeled as hate speech. And now he comes and says, well, some people are taking advantage of the system. But there's something good about it.
The system he oversaw?
Yeah, I think there's something good about it because I like to be an optimist. You know how a lot of people say that the UK is going to become woke North Korea? Mm-hmm. It looks like it's heading that way. I'm realistic. It looks like it's heading that way. We'll say more about this in the segment. But he seems to me like Rocky, Justin Trudeau, because if he can change, then we can change.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. Let's go to Bukele. Let's go to South America. The Bukele effect is the effect where you actually enforce the law and make a country safe by just enforcing the law, nothing else. He made El Salvador, which is his country, essentially one of the safest in South America. It was one of the least safe, and now it's the safest. How? Because he didn't listen to all those people whose mindset is governing Europe, saying that, no, you should preside over the dissolution of your society. You should accept the disintegration of your society as the mandate of prudence. No, he said, no, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to enforce the law. He did it, and he made his country safe.
The idea that there's something wrong or illegal about enforcing the law.
No, I mean,
he just built a couple of, at least one, massive new prison and rounded up everyone that was known to be gangsters,
yeah,
which was a fantastic number of people in El Salvador, and put them in prison.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And the crime rate falls off a cliff. And you get, like, I don't know, I seem to remember Bloomberg website saying, oh, he's a dangerous authoritarian.
Yeah, what about the human rights?
Yeah, what about their human rights?
Yeah.
What about the human rights, the safety of everyone else in El Salvador?
Well, as you know really well, the appeal to human rights is notoriously abused. Now, let's talk about another example. We'll go to Milei. In Argentina was ravaged by inflation, and it has been ravaged by really bad socialist welfare policies, the kind of policies that are governing Europe for decades. And they led to starvation, poverty, and inflation. And now he actually said, I'm going to do something about it. I'm not going to listen to the voices that tell us that we can turn this around. I'm not going to listen to the doomers. He went there and he changed it. And as you see here, the monthly inflation rate is falling. The yearly inflation rate is falling. What was considered to be impossible was actually possible. He just went there and did it. And, you know, he also reduces poverty. There are a lot of accounts and a lot of critics of Milei who are saying, actually, look at the bad situation of poverty in Argentina. The very bad poverty rates of Argentina are essentially what catapulted him into the presidency. This is something that a lot of people don't say. He is also presiding over reforms that are driving record investor returns. And also, they are having really large operations against child sexual exploitation rings. Brilliant.
I didn't know any of this. This is new.
Yes,
brilliant.
Exactly.
Amazing.
They rescued 70 kidnapped minors, and they arrested 20 pedophiles in 114 raids. So they're doing something about it. They're not sitting down saying, well, let us just, this is how the cookie crumbles. Let's just take our seat and take our money and our prestige and not do something about it. They actually care. And it seems to me that when a safe sign of judging whether a politician is bad is see whether what they're actually putting forward as is essentially micromanaging social decline, where they're, rather than saying we're going to tackle the disease, they're just focusing on the symptom. Right, so we have a major European win. It's not all the victories that are on the other side of the Atlantic. Miss Denmark won the Miss Universe prize contest, and she's actually a woman, which I think it's a good thing. So it's two huge victories. But other than that, sadly, we still want to see good results. We haven't seen that good results for a long time now. We see some parties that have patriotic rhetoric rising in numbers. Some of them are winning in some places, like in Austria, but they have massive trouble. They have massive problems, and we don't know where all this is going to lead. And essentially, the morale here is pretty low. It's pretty low, and we'll focus in England on the policies of the welfare socialist state in England right now. Keir Starmer says is considering of proposing increases in the council tax bill. Well, this tax is one of the least sensible ones. I mean, generally speaking, I hate taxes. Understand that to a small degree, a small percentage of them may be necessary to have some, basic goods and some basic utilities and services functioning. But what on earth is council tax? Why do we have council tax? We have it also...
We already do income tax and all sorts of other taxes, yeah. I mean, if anyone doesn't know, anyone living outside of Britain, council tax is quite expensive. Yeah. It's quite expensive. It'll be one of the biggest things you spend money on. It's up there with your energy bills or car repayments or rent or mortgage. Yeah. Not quite as big as your rent or mortgage, but it'll be a big chunk of your money every single month.
It's a senseless tax. It's just yet another way of conducting economic warfare against your people.
And it seems like it just keeps going up, especially in the last 10 years or so. Just keeps going up and up and up just constantly.
Now, why would that be? What are some possible potential reasons why that could explain this increase?
Well, the councils just spend tons of money, don't they? They just spend tons and tons of money. Like they'll spend literally thousands of pounds on making a zebra crossing rainbow coloured. Or something.
And then repainting it when some people leave skid marks with their tyres.
Or they'll spend thousands of pounds on a new bit of a statue or something, a bit of abstract commie art for the middle of town. Or they'll put all new park benches in a park which doesn't necessarily need them. Thousands and thousands of pounds on that. And on and on and on and on. I mean, like I say, of course you need the bins to be taken out, or, roads need to be repaired and all that sort of thing. So
yeah, but that's not a license to just increase your tax perpetuity.
Endlessly, yeah.
Also, it's not just the council tax that they want to raise. They want to raise taxes in farmers. They're pushing for inheritance tax right now. They're lying about the amount of farmers that this is going to affect. It's going to affect many more. And also, this is senseless because attacking farmers is attacking essentially your food dependency. You're making the country less independent, and you're making it more dependent in foreign farmers and foreign industries. This seems to me to be a recipe for disaster.
It's this classic thing. I mean, it's literally sort of economics 101, political economy 101. Yeah. It might be the very first day in an A-level or an undergrad of political economy, is that if you tax people too much, you actually don't get as the government. What you really care about is that the Treasury or the central government collects as much money as possible, if that's what you care about. There's a certain threshold where if you keep putting taxes up, your revenues actually go down because people just can't or won't pay it. Yeah. Or the very rich just move away, and all sorts of things. There's sort of a sweet spot.
It's the profit motive.
We're way beyond that sweet spot.
It's the profit motive. Socialists and leftists don't accept the profit motive.
No.
And when they constantly increase taxes, at some point people are going to ask, themselves, why should I work and why should I innovate? And that's why there is considerable brain drain. And there are lots of people leaving from Europe to go to the US, especially. Right, so we have all these taxes that constantly arise. And they constantly, what I absolutely despise is that they pretend that this is for the good of society, but it's also, no, it's just politicians caring just to be re-elected, redistributing money to their supporters at the expense of the common good. And it isn't just economics that are infuriating in European countries. It's also political and matters, and also matters of basic safety. And I think one of the most pernicious things that affect our countries has to do with the appeal to the European Convention of Human Rights, because right now it seems like everything that benefits the political allies of leftists is considered a human right, and they are treated preferentially. Everyone else doesn't have an equal moral status. Let's see here. I have this literally harrowing story. It says, pedophile who sexually assaulted stepdaughter allowed to stay in UK under ECHR rules. Kicking sex offender from the Democratic Republic of Congo out of Scotland would affect his family life, tribunal says. We have a pedophile who was convicted of sexually assaulting his stepdaughter, and he was allowed to remain in the UK because deporting him was going to be a breach to his right to a family life. What does that even mean?
Madness, isn't it?
This is absolute madness.
I mean, the ECHR is completely out of date, and it has been completely subverted to just make us less safe.
Exactly, yeah.
To just facilitate sex crime and violent crime. That's all it's doing now.
Exactly. And as you will see, this confirms exactly what you just said. They say the man who is in his early 50s and is from Congo was jailed for 3 years in 2020 for appalling offenses, including sexual penetration and sexual assault against his stepdaughter and 2 other young girls in the family. Because of the severity of his offenses, he was ordered to be deported back to his African homeland. However, he successfully appealed against the sanction, with an immigration judge ruling deportation would negatively impact the well-being of his wife and 3 biological children whom the sexual offenses were not committed against. This makes zero sense. All this shows is that the appeals to human rights right now are notoriously abused, and what they're doing is just they're instrumentalized in order to support the supporters of the leftists who are destroying Europe.
There's 2 actual ways to deal with that. One, just deport him. 2, if there was some sort of circumstance where it would be, if you could somehow argue it's detrimental to break up the family, well, they can all go back to Congo then, can't they?
Tom Homan said in the 60 Minutes interview. But let us just mention this. They're appealing to the welfare and the well-being of the people. Well, what about the well-being of the victims? What about the well-being of people who are scared to live with other people who are criminals and who display strong trends towards criminal behavior, and also display zero will to integrate? What about the well-being of native populations in European countries? What about the well-being of the English? What about the well-being of the Scottish? What about the well-being of the Welsh?
Well, in the view of the globalists, the traitors, it counts for nothing. It's just suck it up.
And we have
what a disgusting crime.
Yeah, it's
ongoing crime.
It must stop. We have here a headline like this, and you see how there is obviously a double standard with the appeal with the human rights. Agony for mother of teen killed in machete attack after learning one of his killers will be released after just 6 months due to prison overcrowding under new labor scheme. What about her well-being? What about her mental well-being? Doesn't she have a right? Right. So it seems that things are becoming really bad with this, because everyone who speaks against this is labeled someone who is committing hate speech. And we have this really weird banner: being offensive is an offense. What is offensive? Who is the arbiter of what is offensive?
I would retort to that. Being offensive is an offence. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. I don't accept that it is.
And
Simple as that.
what I want to show is that a lot of people are talking about the current state. Essentially, it's an authoritarian state that wants to govern arbitrarily. I really think that they don't have any ideology. A lot of people think that they have a particular ideology and they want to impose it on others. I think they're strictly Machiavellian. Personally, it's pure abuse of power, and what they're doing and why they're using wokeness, and why I think wokeness isn't going to disappear anytime soon, is because it's the perfect instrument to divide the population and dominate on them. Because suddenly, if you are subjectivizing legislation and you're making it arbitrary, and you can hide arbitrary use of power under a facade of legitimacy, you can have the very operation that violates the rule of law presented as upholding the rule of law. That's why I think people need to wake up. This isn't the right direction for Europe. This isn't the right direction for European countries, and we really need to protest against this.
It isn't the right direction for civilization, for human civilization.
Exactly.
It really isn't. Yeah, you called it Machiavellian. Yeah, absolutely. It's completely calculated, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We don't accidentally find ourselves here. No, it's absolutely calculated from above. Yeah.
And we have this really weird news from Germany, which seems to me to show exactly what is wrong with current politics in Europe. It's that politicians are focusing not on the disease, but they're focusing on the symptom. We have here the German Greens. We're going to do a whole segment devoted on it today. But let me just mention this briefly. German Greens advocate women-only train carriages. Increasing sexual violence on public transport prompts misdirected proposal from collapsing governing coalition partner. So if you look, there is a surge in crime, especially in train stations. And what they're saying is, let's just have segregation of the sexes. They're not focusing on, and the Greens are in the coalition that governs Germany at the moment, they're not focusing on the actual disease. They're focusing just on the symptoms, because all they care about is just being re-elected. All they care about is just the next electoral, let's say, challenge. They want to have their seats and the world be damned.
The German Greens want to make sexual segregation great again, apparently.
Yeah.
I guess it's just normal German people have just suddenly become much more violent. The amount of just sex crime amongst native Germans has just suddenly surged. Yeah. That's all that's happened.
So I want to say that, yeah.
It's I think in places like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, various places around the world, I think they do have segregated, obviously in a lot of Muslim countries, they'll have segregated everything.
That means that we are changing Europe, and other people we are dancing at the pace of other civilizations. And no, I don't want this for I don't want this for Europe. I don't want this for Greece. I don't want this for England. I don't want this for France. I don't want this for Germany. Why? There's no reason we should be doing this. I absolutely despise this kind of socialist welfare managing of decline. I want Europe to be made great again.
And I guess we'll save this for the third segment where we talk about it in more detail, but I will just say what an odd thing it is that environmentalism, the green movement, is completely co-opted by various other ideologies, including Islam. Yeah. What a weird thing. Yeah. We see it even in Britain, didn't we, that the Green Party has been infiltrated by sort of super hardline Palestinians or whatever it is. The Greens, of all things. Yeah. If you'd asked me in the year 2003 or something, I would have thought, no, that doesn't really make any sense. Why would that? That wouldn't add up. Why would that be?
It would seem mad to suggest it.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Hi folks, thanks for watching. We really appreciate the fact that we are kept sustained by the fact that you guys sign up to lotus.com for £5 a month to help us actually allowed to exist. Because of course we're demonetized here. So if you'd like to support us, go over to lotus.com and watch the latest episode in the incredibly deep dive that we are doing on Stanley Kubrick. This is episode 3, and it's not the end, as I understand. Also, go over to X, formerly Twitter, and follow us at lotuseaters_com.